The Congressional Budget Office estimates 3.3 million immigrants will come across the U.S. borders this year, and the government assigns many of them a court hearing to determine if they'll stay and where they'll go. As I found out, this is a major undertaking, especially in cases where immigrants from south of the border don't speak any common languages like English or even Spanish. That's where a former missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints found a niche. Jace Norton served an LDS mission to Guatemala in 2010. He began in the Spanish language, but was quickly assigned to speak a Mayan language called Quechua.
It was an amazing experience being able to learn Quechua, being able to access this culture that most people have never heard of. They're amazing people.
When he returned in 2012, he thought he might not ever use the language again. Until he heard of the demand for an interpreter for anyone who knew any of the 22 or more Mayan languages.
I quickly found, as soon as I started, that they were flying me out to New York City, Miami, Houston, San Francisco, pretty much every major city. I was doing 6 to 10 cases per week for them all over the United States.
The demand is so high that he was asked if he could get a bigger group together to help.
So I said, well, I know a lot of guys just like me who are returned missionaries who served in Guatemala, who have learned Quechua, and I can do something about it.
Norton started a company called Maya Bridge Language Services. They do much of their work with unaccompanied minors, where Office of Refugee Resettlement caseworkers have the tough task of ensuring a child's U.S. sponsor is a safe person to be with, that they won't wind up in human trafficking. Often they come over with just a name and a state where the sponsor lives.
Those kids just, can end up in foster care because there's no way for them to communicate who are you supposed to go with, right? Or who is this person? So, they might not be able to get reunified with somebody. These populations, the indigenous speakers, they're the ones that are coming most frequently to the United States because they are the ones that are the most impoverished, they have the least opportunity, and they are the ones that are most desperate for a change.
These interpreters have to be legally authorized to work in the United States. A tough task when these indigenous languages are only spoken in isolated parts of Central America. Maya Bridge now employs dozens of former missionaries who speak most of these dialects, and some Mayans who now live here legally who have learned English.
The lifestyle there is way different than here.
Like Francisco Jesus. He's from central Guatemala. His native tongue is a little-known language called congressional. Spoken only in his town of Saloma, Huehuetenango. Jesus came 16 years ago to work here to help support his mother and sisters back in Saloma.
It's better because of the opportunity of United States. We come here and we work so hard. So we send some money there, so our people outside, so they can kind of have a more decent life.
Jesus now has a family of his own to support here, but he says he sends back at least 30% of what he earns.
So we have to send some money for everything, even if they need to go to the doctor, for food, for this, for that. That's what we do.
Norton says he feels a calling to help with this language so rarely spoken.
I mean, it's incredible, and it's definitely the most heartwarming part of this job. All of a sudden, you have somebody that can speak their language. They're obviously very excited, and especially if it's somebody like myself who doesn't look like I should be able to speak their language. They're kind of surprised, and they think it's kind of funny.
Norton says Maya Bridge has helped thousands of children and adults communicate in the court system, many of whom may not be able to stay in the States, but he hopes all of them understand decisions made and can communicate their real story when their case comes up for a hearing. And he does not look like he should speak that language.
But then he hits them with it, and then they're like, wow, that's so cool. It's like a superpower.
Yeah,
that's
such
neat.
a unique need, too, that they serve.
Very much so. Very interesting.